In the 100+ years of filmmaking and thousands of years of storytelling, there are really only 4 ways to end a story. In today's video, we're going to explain one of these endings using The Godfather.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
It was an offer we couldn't refuse. And at the end of the video, we'll provide a free downloadable worksheet to help you plot out your ending. Leave the gun.
Leave the gun.
And take the cannoli.
Take the cannoli.
This is part 2 of the 4 endings in every film. The bitter ending. Traditional protagonists typically need 2 things, a want and a need.
Though your heart is aching.
Wants are external goals that are known to the character, specific to them, and drive the plot forward.
How's the comedy career? You a famous stand-up yet?
Not quite. Just been working on my material.
In Joker, Arthur Fleck's want is to be a stand-up comedian.
Please help me welcome Arthur Fleck, y'all. Arthur Fleck.
One day you'll have to work for a living.
No, I won't, Ma. I'm gonna be a comedian.
And simply make people happy.
She always tells me to smile and put on a happy face. She says I was put here to spread joy and laughter.
But needs are internal goals that are often unknown to the character, universal to us all.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
And drive the character through their arc. Arthur's need is to focus on his mental health.
I stopped taking my medication. I feel a lot better now.
Before it pushes him over the edge.
How about another joke, Murray?
No, I think we've had enough of your jokes.
What do you get
I don't think so.
when you cross
I think
a
we're
mentally
done
ill
with your
loner
jokes.
with
That's
a
it.
society that abandons him and treats him like trash?
Call the police,
I'll
Gene.
tell you what you get.
Call the police.
You get what you f***ing deserve.
And at the end of most stories, the protagonist will attain some combination of their wants and needs. And you can map every type of ending on a quadrant like this. Sweet, achieving their wants and needs. Bittersweet, achieving their wants but not their needs. Semi-sweet, not achieving their wants but achieving their needs. And lastly, bitter, achieving neither. In the last video, we saw Marty McFly achieve both his wants and needs to achieve a very happy, sweet ending.
Everything is great.
But this time, we'll track Michael Corleone's descent into the bitter end.
And may the Lord be with you. Amen.
To pull off an exceptional ending, the work starts from the very first scene. That's why we've imported the screenplay into Studio Binder, so we can pinpoint the necessary plot and character beats that created such a satisfying ending.
Don Corleone.
Now, Michael's descent follows the type of negative change arc that writer K.M. Weiland calls the corruption arc. These stories follow a character who is good, but who throws away that chance and consciously chooses darkness. Let's see how this plays out. As the Corleone family celebrate a wedding, we get a glimpse into the family and their business.
You don't even think to call me Godfather. Instead, you come into my house on the day my daughter's to be married and you ask me to do murder for money.
Now, let's take a moment to really look at this scene and how critical it is from a writing perspective.
How'd he do that?
My father made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
What was that?
As Michael tells Kay a story about his family's business, 2 major things are established in the conversation: Michael's want and something K.M. Weiland refers to as a characteristic moment, where we introduce the character's true self. Let's watch the scene.
Luca Brazzi held a gun to his head, and my father assured him that either his brains or his signature would be on the contract. That's a true story.
The want is clearly stated by Michael on page 13, here.
That's my family, Kay. It's not me.
Which is to live a normal life and avoid his corrupt family business. As for his characteristic moment, Weiland describes this as the moment we gain an almost immediate sense of the dark nature that will lead to his doomed future. Listen again, but this time pay close attention to how Michael tells the story.
Luca Brazzi held a gun to his head, and my father assured him that either his brains or his signature would be on the contract.
Michael's indifference, while admitting his father's violence and corruption, is our first clue that he's accepting and prepared, even subconsciously, to assume that role later on. Jumping ahead, we see Michael pursuing his normal life on page 25, where he continues to choose goodness over darkness.
Now, what do you want for Christmas?
Oh, just you.
In fact, Michael is so disconnected from the family, he finds out about his father's assassination attempt from a newspaper.
Can I go with you?
No, okay. There's gonna be detectives there, people from the press. I don't want you to get involved. Sonny, Michael, I'm at the hospital. Listen, I got here late. There's nobody here. Nobody. No Tessio's men, no detectives, nobody. Papa's all alone. Don't panic. I won't panic.
With Don Corleone unprotected at the hospital, Michael takes charge.
You and I are gonna move my father to another room. Now, can you disconnect those tubes so we can move the bed out?
Michael's dialogue here is our next clue that he is ready to cross the threshold.
Just lie here, Bob. I'll take care of you now. I'm with you now. I'm with you.
He even kisses his father's hand, which is the ultimate sign of respect when dealing with mafia bosses. When writing a corruption arc, we also need to hint at the character's potential. We got a taste of it in the first scene with Michael's indifference. But here, on page 50, we see it truly manifest itself.
Get rid of these. Come here. Put your hand in your pocket like you have a gun. You'll be all right.
Now, pay attention to this moment. It's subtle, but very telling. This is the moment Michael recognizes the change in himself. His hands are not shaking. He's not rattled. Michael took control all by himself and didn't panic. With this newfound confidence, Michael officially inserts himself into the business on page 54.
They want to have a meeting with me, right? It will be me, McCluskey, and Soletso. Let's set the meeting.
This is a side of Michael we haven't seen, and this is important.
Find out where it's going to be held. Now, we insist it's a public place, a bar, a restaurant, some place where there's people so I feel safe. But if Clemenza can figure a way to have a weapon planted there for me, kill them both.
Michael's initial want of living a normal life is now replaced with a new desire to protect his family. And that original want of living a normal life has now become his need.
Hey, what are you going to do? Nice college boy, huh?
Unfortunately, in a corruption arc, to get one, the hero must sacrifice the other. And all of this is solidified with Michael's line, here.
It's not personal, Sonny. It's strictly business.
Michael executes his plan on page 63.
Ti senti meglio? E mettiamo tutto a posto. Sti fissaria, siete finiti.
And begins a long spiral towards the darkness.
Mike, you don't come to Las Vegas and talk to a man like Mo Green like that!
Fredo, you're my older brother, and I love you. But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again. Ever.
The climax of the film reveals the true depths of Michael's corruption arc. Not only does he dispatch his rivals with calculated cruelty,
Michael Francis Rizzi, do you renounce Satan?
I do renounce him.
he does so while swearing allegiance to the ultimate good.
Michael Rizzi, will you be baptized? In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Michael Rizzi, go in peace, and may the Lord be with you. Amen.
And while everyone around him wanted Michael to keep his soul intact,
I never wanted this for you.
Maybe we shouldn't get Mike mixed up in this too directly.
he pursued the darkness.
Please, Mike, don't do this to me.
He has blood on his hands.
Come on, you think I make my sister a widow?
You lousy bastard! You killed my husband.
The life Michael wanted
That's my family, Kate. It's not me.
Is it true?
is now just a facade.
About my business.
No!
His want and need are left tragically unfulfilled. He sacrificed his goodness. His marriage is loveless and built upon lies.
Is it true?
No.
Don Corleone.
In the end, Kay knows, and we know, that Michael has completely lost his soul. But it's not a sad ending per se. In fact, despite all of Michael's negative change, we can't help but feel like he won. Perhaps a little part of us believes that Michael sacrificed his soul for his family's survival. Remember, when writing your ending, you must consider all the criteria for both wants and needs to ensure a compelling ending. So, you'll find a free downloadable worksheet where you can plot these out for your characters. What's the most bitter ending to a movie you've seen? Was it as morally complicated as The Godfather?
Sarah, go for!
Share your favorites in the comments.
I love you. I love you too, Mom.
In the next episode, we'll return to a little bit of sweetness after all this bitterness. Many scripts attempt to turn arrogant and despicable characters into our sympathies, but few are successful.
Ow! Stop acting like a retard.
Uh-oh.
The Oscar-winning classic Rain Man crafts one of the most deep and touching character arcs ever written. Come back for episode 3 as we revisit this essential piece of screenwriting. Now, go spend time with your family.
You spend time with your family?
Sure I do.
Good.
If you enjoyed this video, there's no need for a bitter ending. Get what you want and what you need by hitting subscribe and ringing the bell for notifications. See you in the next one.